Birdie, well, it's obviously it's the basics. So it will be the research recruits. So if you can get the trade post up with the T1R4 research microchips, just so it's on your screen.
Okay, I got a question because I don't know the answer to it. When you did the filter, there's a small, medium, large, and whatever. Yeah, that one. What is that size for?
That would be devices and components because they're different. So, like for weapons, large weapons go on the bigger ships, medium weapons go on the medium-sized ships, small weapons go on the small ships. So, when you're in the devices and the components, you can look for specific sizes. The U is for universal; it fits on all ships.
Okay, but when we're in like microchip, those don't even matter.
Correct. They just show up because it's the filter for pure filter. So, like, because I have this filter checked, if I went from microchips to components, it's still going to sit with my filter.
Okay. Thank you, Bertie.
It's a universal filter, so it applies it across all the different subsections. It does not apply to microchips or implants. Well, you can't buy implants in the trade post anyway, but you can filter implants. But it doesn't apply to anything that's not a weapon, device, or component.
Thank you, guys. Now I understand why.
Yeah. All right.
It's a universal filter.
You are on when you are ready.
Right. So, the first thing that we're going to talk about is research microchips. And the reason we're going to do that first and foremost is because we hold these conversations for bootcamp members primarily. And bootcamp members do not have an awful lot of research done. And this is the perfect time to get yourself a research recruit set up. What a research recruit can do is it can reduce the time your research takes by anything up to 40%. It can reduce the minerals cost of doing research by anything up to 40%. And literally, I've been playing the game for 2 years and I'm at 90% research, nearly. I'm at 88%. And I'm still not finished. So if I'd have known about this 2 years ago, I'd already be finished. So it's really, really worth your time putting some effort into this at the very start. And that's why we talk about this first and foremost with the bootcamp members, because you are just starting out.
Now, if that goes on a scientist, if I understand correctly, a scientist recruit?
So there's lots and lots of different researches that you're going to need to do.
Yeah, but
there's lots and lots of researches that you're not going to need to do. And this is how we sort the chaff from the wheat. And we make it easier for you to train what you need to train quicker and cheaper, and then once that's done, you have the option of training what you want to train for your own personal development. So, just briefly to break into recruits. Every recruit has a different speciality and a different career. There's 4. You've got soldiers, engineers, scientists, and miners. They're called explorers, but they're only used for mining. We would not use a soldier or a explorer as a research recruit. normally speaking, we wouldn't use an engineer either, because each career has its own slight bonus to one particular thing. And a scientist has a tiny bonus to research, speed. So what we would suggest as boot camp commanders and as people giving advice is that you would look at your particular group of scientists, you would choose one, and then you would say, right, from here on out, this is my research recruit. Take all the chips off it. It doesn't matter if it's green, blue, purple, or gold. Even if it's a master scientist, it doesn't matter. Take the chips off it, unless they're T3 chips. They're difficult to save unless you've got money spent. This bonus that each career gives is actually quite small, and you can actually outweigh the bonus with putting a better chip onto something. So an engineer with a better chip will give you a bigger bonus than a scientist with a lower chip. So the career of the recruit researcher is not really that important, but because boot camp members and lower level members don't have many to choose from, we would still suggest start with a scientist. The microchips that you put onto any, actually this goes for any recruit, can be doubled up. So you can have a T1 or 4 engineering research material microchip. You can have a T2 or 5 research or engineering research material saving microchip, and you can have a T3 or 5 engineering research material saving microchip. When you do that, you then have over, Birdie's going to bring it up now. She's going to be able to tell us if we did that, what the actual savings would be over time. And this is what we try to get people to do. We try to get people to look at what they're going to be researching. For most people in boot camp, it's going to be engineering skills, because you need to get your shield resistances up, you need to get most of your engineering skills up. You need to do limited amounts of ship research in order to meet doctrine. You need to do limited amounts of weapons research in order to meet doctrine, but you need to do the majority of engineering research to get to where doctrine needs you to be. You got to think that all you guys are all DPS, so you're all going to be aiming for the E-Logi surge, right? So all the E-Logi components, the E-Logi devices, the range enhancers for the rails, the shield resist enhancer, it's all through engineering. So this is why we say, and we give the example of engineering research recruits. But what I'm telling you now can be transferred across any type of microchip. So if you decide, right, I've had enough of doing engineering research and I want to swap to weapons research, then all you need to do is go chip for chip, like for like, and swap them out. It works across any spectrum. So, Birdie, have you gotten any of those chips up yet to give just
I did. I actually had pulled up the engineering one that you just, or that we did together with the T1 or the T1, T2 fit as well, so that way they can see the specific, the doubling up that you guys were just talking about. So I can go back to the trading post, but I wanted to show them what it meant by doubling up on the T1 and T2. So she's got 8 chips on her. 2 of them are for the specific research efficiency and the research materials. I have one in T2 and one in T1. And then I have a very specific for the engineering research material and efficiency in a T1 and a T2. That's what Zarf meant by doubling up.
Yeah, no, finish what you said, Darren.
So if I wanted to add more, say instead of I'm increasing my gala, right? Or I'm only using this one specific, then I would probably want to do, instead of a T1, T2 on the research efficiency, I would go T2, T3 on the generic research efficiency, and then change out the microchips as I'm doing research. Say if I'm stopping on my engineering research, I'd leave the T2, T3 generic research efficiency, but change out the specialty to weapons or ship or production research, and leave that as T1, T2 for cost purposes. Because again, you can't pull those T3s off without a specific tool that you don't use in Meridian.
Yes, and I'm delighted that after such little time between me explaining this to you and today, you're now able to make these decisions for yourself, because that's what I want to do in the class that I had with you, and I'm delighted to hear that it's worked. I want to just make people able to make their own fucking decisions about these things. I'm not telling people what to do, I'm giving them the knowledge on why things work, and then letting people do their own thing.
So I currently have 2 scientists set up to research because I am bouncing non-stop between engineering and weapons. I only do a couple researches in other topics, so I just let them be. And then when I get engineering to a point where I'm going to be stopping for a hot minute, I'll pull those researches off my main engineering research and put on something else. So if I want to start focusing high on production so that I can build my production up, I'll throw production research microchips on her.
But that's the thing. It's giving people the knowledge so that they can figure this stuff out for themselves by looking at the trade post and by looking at what the percentages are for the different microchips. Now Ben knows that he can have a T1 of any color, a T2 of the same chip of any color, and a T3 of the same chip of any color, all on the same recruit. So within he decides, right, I want to focus on engineering, he can look at his Gala wallet and decide if he wants to go just T1 and T2, or if he wants to upgrade to a T3.
So what I'm pulling up
So
right now
for that research recruit, for a boot camp member, I would recommend, let's just use the example of an engineering research recruit. I would recommend R1 purple, material saving, and I think the other one is called, is it material efficiency?
Yeah,
the time saving one. The 2 of those in R1 purple, the 2 of those in T2, the best you can afford. And then there is, as Birdie spoke about, the generic research microchips, the ones that cover everything, the ones that cover all research materials, all research times. You would do the same. you would go T1 R4 purple, and you would go T2 the best you could afford. Now that's 6 microchips. That leaves you with 2 free. So where you would go with that really depends on what you were planning to do with the research. Where did you go, Birdie?
I went with engineering. I'm currently showing them the prices. So since I have the engineering up, let me go into my research really quick because I have an open queue and I can show you guys. Because it'll actually pull up what her total, because I showed you guys the T1, T2. So when I go into my research, I'll hit the upgrade. Down in the corner where it says assistant, you can click on it and it will take off the person, right? So it'll take off the recruit, so you can change that out. You'll notice on the left-hand side, everything went back up to the normal cost of what that research would be. When I click on my recruit, it's going to show you what her total stacked discounts are for percentage-wise. So with her T1 and T2 chips on, the ones that I showed you, she has a savings of 26% in time and 26% savings in cost. Now, if I took the quality of those microchips up even higher, I would save even more. So the higher the quality, the more savings you get, but it's the more quality you pay out. With that said, a lot of us do research off and on. We also produce microchips, the higher core members, and we're willing to help you guys out by selling you microchips at half off. So if there's something specific you're looking for and it's out of your price range, come talk to Core. We'll help you out and get you set up with what you need, as far as your fit wise and as far as your dollar budget is. You can also produce your own with credits and the widgets. But when you notice when I hit this person and do confirm, those numbers are going to decrease by 26%.
And I just wanted to point out something that I didn't mention, but when you queue up 4, 5, 6 researches, it will automatically assign the best recruit that's not already being used. You can change that, which is exactly what Birdie was just talking about. So you can change that recruit. Click on the recruit for your secondary research. Click on the recruit and change it for the exact same one as the first research. And you can do the same thing with your third research, your fourth research, your fifth research. I can do 6 researches now, and I can use the same recruit for every one. Because it's used automatically for your first research, when you try to do it automatically, it's not available for your second. You need to do that by yourself. You need to change that out yourself. That's where you get the saving.
We doing good so far, guys?
Alright, I'm just going to use the toilet. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
So basically, I have, like, if I was gonna go into, because it automatically pulls her up for the engineering. If I went into weapons and chose something there instead, there we go. It would pull up my guy that I showed you that I currently have for weapons. And again, it's going to show, like if I clicked on it to take him off, it's going to move those up. And then it's going to show me that I have 26% savings if I use this guy. If I use the one that I have set up for engineering, it's only going to save me 14%. And that's because that's all her, the generic research. So this is with the generic and the weapons special addition on it. I'm needing to do there we go.
Future lies in the stars.
And when I'm searching for microchips, Ben, I'm kind of going with you on this one because I know you like to use the filter or whatever. Because I'm doing T1s and T2s, when I'm looking for this sort of stuff, I set my filter to T1, T2, and then I just leave it at the R4. Again, if you're kind of limited on Gala, then you can go down to the R3. I usually don't try to do anything lower than R3 because the savings is not, it's just not as good. Again, your T1s are going to be a lot cheaper than your T2s, and you can kind of see that with these are like 30 to 60,000. When you jump into your T2s, then you're looking between 300 to 700,000. So you can also see where people normally are focusing on their research or what they finished because the high demand and low quantities of those items. So it's also pays kind of to watch the trading post and see if things drop in price based on how many are on the market.
I have one other question there.
Yes.
How do you determine if that's a really good price or let's say the weapon research material saving it's for 711.9K. Is that really a good price or does it get a little cheaper at times?
It does get cheaper at times. I will tell you right now that the average, I usually say that the average is between 400 to 500. If you start seeing things that are way above that, it's a little on the high side. The weapons research is kind of in a high demand right now because there's a lot of wars going on between some of our between some of the other alliances. So that's something that's being hit pretty hard while people are trying to push their research into the T3s. So those are ones that I would suggest if you see the prices that high, talk to other Corps members to see if they have them in stock, or try to make your own. Which you can do by going into the development. You can hit the microchips. Now with mine, I currently only have the ability to do T2s because I'm low on widgets. But you can go into the assistance and dispatch. And when you go on, say you're looking for research conservation, Knight taught me this last night. You can go in and click this middle box right here, and you'll see all of the options that can be made with this development. So that way you can double check and make sure that you're on the right one that you're actually looking for. This is even better when you're doing your implants, by the way, so that way you make sure that you're not producing implants that you don't end up needing. But you can click on these and see which ones can actually happen with the level you click on. So even though I'm only in a T1 or T2R1, I do have the ability, it's not likely, but I have the ability to end up getting a T2R5 out of that production. That option is available.
The only thing that I would state there is that T1 implants cannot be obtained or achieved, not achieved, through development. They need to come off of wing.
Yeah, the microchips. Yeah, T1s cannot be developed, but they're the ones that are cheap. So if you want to purchase the T1s and then try to roll your T2s and T3s, that is an option for you. But again, you can always ask Corps members. But again, I would say between 400 to 500 is a decent price. Anything above that, is a bit on the high side. Below that, purchase them. You may, I'm like, depending on how low the price is, purchase all of them at that price, and then you can resell them for higher and make a profit, or you can sell them to core members. Which,
you know, yeah, I was just going to point out about core members. Birdie hinted about it
And I would
earlier.
like to say just one thing I would like to say with this, with making microchips for anyone new. As Birdie said, that it gives you options of chips which you might get or will get. Just bear in mind that, for example, you want one special chip and there is like a 4 kinds or 3 kinds. Same with implants, you will get one random. So sometimes when you do implants, it's easy. You just assemble and then do it again. You just lose credits. But you can't do the same thing with the microchips. You get stuck with this thing which you actually get, and you can't get your gala back, which is quite expensive thing.
yeah,
No,
disassembling microchips takes extra steps.
yeah, you know, he's not on about widgets, right? You can get microchip widgets back, you can get implant widgets back, but
Yeah,
for
but-
microchips, you need the T3 and you need the Gala.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Right?
I'm
For,
saying. That with,
for implants, yeah.
you just lose credit. But with microchips, you lose in gala, which gets pretty expensive. So I think it's better to ask someone if they have, especially at the beginning, some microchips which you can buy directly from them. Because I did it, and it was extremely expensive and mistake.
Yeah. Zard helped me get mine all set up. We spent 2 hours getting everything set up, purchased across the board and whatnot, so I know that there are core members here who will help you guys out. Do not be afraid to reach out.
This is what I was just starting to talk about. I said Birdie had hinted on it, and then Aopa came in and spoke about it. It is expensive, and because it's expensive, we do not expect you guys to go out and spend a fortune, right? Boot camp, as far as we are concerned, is free to play. We are teaching you guys how to do this the best way you can for free. We do not expect you to spend money on this game. It's a game, nothing more. Okay? So what happens is there are various older members of the corp who are heavily involved in boot camp. I was one of them up until recently, and I'm back involved this evening. One of the things that I used to do when I ran boot camp sessions was occasionally I would say, right, anybody in boot camp who wants to sell something to me, I will buy it at plus 50%. And that way I would transfer Gala from my older, larger wallet into the wallets of the newer members and give the newer members something with which to get themselves started. And we have lots of, well, not lots, but we've got some people that are willing to do that. I did it the other night. This is a little bit extreme for boot camp, but I bought a T3 Battlecruiser blueprint at plus 50% because JT needed to sell his Arbiter blueprint in order to buy a Fortress off of 27. So I bought it for nearly 26 million Gala, and when I build it in 5 days and I sell it, I'll be lucky to break even. But I did it because he needed the Gala and I had it liquid. And this is what we do for the newer members. Maybe not fucking 26 million per member, but If you guys need something, you come to the older players in the boot camp and you say, listen, I really need this. We heard about this during the conversation the other night. I'm trying to make my recruit research better, or I'm trying to afford the first T2 gun for my surge. Can anybody help me? Can anybody buy this? Can anybody and sell me something at minus 50%? And we will all help you. There is no problem there. The entire boot camp is set up to help newer people become stronger people, so that we can all help each other. It's all designed so that we all help each other, so that our fleet gets bigger and bigger and stronger, stronger. And if my gala helps the people at the bottom get into the ships that they need to use, then I will give it. And that's what this is all about. That's why myself and Birdie are spending our time this evening doing nothing except talking to people who need the information to make themselves stronger.
Real quick, the production microchips work the exact same way as the research microchips. There's a generic production microchip, and there's also specialty production microchips. Also, you do not have to have a master recruit for your microchips when you're looking at research and production. I have them on purples. You can put them on blues. So you don't have to feel like you've got to wait for a master scientist to put your microchips on. In fact, my master scientist is my wingman. It's not anything to do with my research or production. Okay, so
Are you answering questions?
no, but I know that was a question that we had in the past. Is on, do I have to have a master in order to have, or I only have blues and greens? Can I still have a recruit for research?
Yeah,
Yes.
and I will just briefly speak on that. Blues and greens are absolutely fine. It's not been completely understood. It's not been completely mathed out as to what the benefit increase is per tier, but it's literally a 1% increase per tier. But if you suddenly go from a blue implant to a purple implant, well, there's your 1% increase. Sorry, microchips. So there's your 1% increase. So even if I had a T1 green research recruit, and I had him on the best of the best microchips, and you had a master recruit on the best of the best microchips, the difference between the two of us and our two recruits would only be about 4%. So when you're talking at like 40% plus for a master and 30 odd, 36, 37% plus for a T1 green, it's not really worth worrying about for people that don't have that amount of fucking masters.
Yeah, very good point. Yep. I'm using just my purples.
So yeah, so you guys with the smaller or the lower quality of the recruits, do not feel like you cannot level them up to 15 and throw these microchips on them. I would suggest the level 15 because that has to do with the career bonus, which I talked about in our last class, and making sure that you get your career bonus as high as possible. The amount of experience that they learn then plays into your career bonus, which then gives you bonuses on your academy points overall, makes you stronger and better. So when you have your 20 recruits, not all 20 of mine are going to be purples and masters. I've got blues and I've got greens that are in that 20. So I still microchip those greens, I still level them up to 15. While they're not high quality, they still provide me exactly the, I'm like very close to the same bonus overall. And that way I have my career bonus and I have recruits that I can switch between. So I don't want you to feel like you have to have all of these best recruits before you can have any bonuses on researching and production and whatnot.
No, bollocks to that. Just put them on T1 green recruits. As I said, the difference between a T3 master engineer or scientist and that's another fucking. If I put a T3 master engineer as my research recruit, he doesn't get the bonus that the scientist does. So now that 4% difference has been reduced to a 3% difference. So you might as well just use a fucking T1 or 2 green scientist. They're just as good. The 2% or 3% that you're losing at the start of the game when you haven't got enough masters and purples. Just use what you have. It's so easy. You can extract T1 and T2 microchips for free. So if you do decide in the future, oh, I'm after getting 10 new recruits and they're all scientists, this one's going to give me another 2% bonus. Okay, extract the microchips off the green, put them on the purple. Now you've got another 2% bonus. Perfect. But you've not really lost anything in the meantime. 2%.
Okay, is there any questions so far before I have Barb look at talking about wingmen for you DPS pilots?
Well, you spoke briefly about the engineers and production, and you said that the production microchips work exactly in the same way as the research microchips, and you were completely correct. But the only problem with having one production specialist, let's say for ammo, is that when you start an ammo production, if you want to start a secondary ammo production, you cannot use the original recruit.
Yeah, so you'll want to duplicate your production research or your production recruits. Unless you only want to produce one item in every category and wait for that thing to finish before you do the other thing, which is not really the most efficient way to do things.
Well, it depends. I mean, if you're going, when you start and you start doing your reps, you start getting the ammo blueprints, you start producing them, and you start selling them for Gala. It's how we all started at the start. But my point here is not about Gala making or what's the best way to get into production. My point here is that a researcher recruit can be used for 6 continuous researches, but a production recruit can only be used for 1 production. It cannot be used again until that production has been finished, and then you start a new production. You cannot line him up. So that's research and production done. Birdie, do you want to bring up the... We've got a document pinned in our doctrine for the doctrine wingman.
Is that under the recruit setup guide? Or is that one in the...
I just want to talk about it briefly. This is boot camp, and I've had this with Razak before. I'm not going to, well, when I was commander, I wasn't going to enforce people to have it. This is a recruit that we would suggest you build for when you're in fleet. That's not going to ruin your day when you're not in fleet.
Yeah, I was gonna see. That's not where that one is. I was trying to see where that one specific is. Do they have it
It's a
actually in the
battle
document?
cruiser recruit. Yeah, they do.
Alright, give me 1 second.
If it's recruits, it's around page 20. It's in the 20s, I believe, of beginner's guide.
Is it in the beginner's guide is where it's at?
I think so.
I was gonna say. Oh, well, that one's for the frigate killers. Hang on, because they're DPS. I'm just gonna bring up the exact one for the surges so that you guys can just touch base on it.
Man, I'm trying to find it myself. Have you any questions just while we're looking through this?
Here we go. I'm gonna see if I can screenshot this.
Yeah, I
while I'm
have some
recording.
question. How did you got them? I have only 8 recruitment.
On the which?
How did you got the recruit? I only have 8. And they are
Oh.
gone.
How do we get recruits?
Yes.
On the home, so when you load up the game and you're in the station screen, at the bottom left,
Well, depends on what
there's
station
3
you're in.
buttons. The very furthest to the left is your station screen. The middle one is the corp station screen. And the last one is the actual station screen. And on the actual station screen, there's a center called Recruitment Center. In there, you use what's called recruitment contracts to spawn new recruits.
Okay, I'm gonna interject you real quick. You can do normal recruits at any time. You have, I would strongly suggest you wait till you have 10. 10 contracts for the normal. Right now I have 6, so I'm not gonna roll them. But you can do them anytime, the normal ones. Senior recruits. You'll see that I have on my screen, I have 31 right now. I am not using them. Because there's a bonus for senior recruits. When you do it without the galactic event, which is currently going on right now, with the galactic event, every 100 you roll, you're gonna get a master recruit. Guaranteed. Okay? With the galactic event, with every 100 you roll during that galactic event, you're guaranteed an exclusive. So hold on to your senior recruits until you have 100. I prefer to wait and do it during galactic events, which I'm missing this one because I don't have 100. But you can do them in the senior recruits when you have 100 if you don't care about the exclusives and you just want to master. But those are the ones that you're going to want to hold on to and wait.
And with that, I would like to also point with a normal galactic, every 100 you have a master, of course, and it's counting a year, whatever. With Galactic Legends, it's just for 2 weeks. If you don't have those 100 contracts in a 2 weeks time, so you lose your guaranteed price.
Okay?
Yes.
So, yeah, if you're wanting the
Yes.
exclusive, wait till you have 100 to roll during the galactic event.
That's what Birdie said. That's why she said, if you want to do the Galactic Legends, and be guaranteed of receiving an exclusive recruit, then wait until you have 100 senior recruits, because you do them in multiples of 10. And when you do the last multiple of 10 at 100, you are guaranteed to receive an exclusive. Now, these recruits, these galactic recruit, also work exactly like regular recruit contracts. Last month, I only had 10 recruit contracts, and I did 10, and I got the exclusive Tsunami. The time before, I did 100 recruits, senior recruits in exclusives, and I got 6 regular masters and 1 exclusive master.
So it's
The
all about
other
playing the
thing-
odds.
Aopa spoke a little bit about it.
That's JT.
Oh, sorry, JT said that the regular senior recruitment lasts for 1 year. Now, I am not sure if it lasts for 1 year, but I do agree with him that it lasts for a very long time. And Birdie, if you used 60 contracts now, you would have 40 remaining for a guaranteed master.
If you,
The
if you
next
see how much-
time the galactic recruitment came along, that would not reset this section of the recruitment for you. You would still only have 40 to wait on.
Okay, so does that make sense, guys? Like, so I, earlier, before I learned about the Galactic event, rolled, because if you see on my screen, it will say a master recruit is guaranteed after another 69 employment contracts are signed. That's because before I learned, I rolled senior recruits. I now don't roll them unless it's a Galactic event. So this has been 69 since I pretty much first started the game. Because I've been rolling them in galactic events when I hit 100. Which is what Zarth is touching on, how it does not reset that 69. That 69 has been there for 4 months now.
Yeah, no, that will not reset. And the other thing that I would like to strenuously point out as well is that just because a galactic event comes around does not mean that those new masters, well, there's only ever one new master. The other 4 have always been here before. It does not necessarily mean that they're actually worth getting. Sometimes the masters that you get through senior recruitment are better than the masters you get through galactic recruitment. So it really, really depends. We have a conversation. A lot of the senior pilots will have conversations about what the new masters are, and how we're going to use them, and what we're going to do with them, and are they any good? And I would strongly suggest that nobody tries to achieve the galactic recruitment until they've asked the question on Discord, is it worth doing? For instance, this galactic, the new recruit is the Pugnabimus, which is a battle cruiser that uses missiles and armor tanks, and it's not very good at all. The last Galactic was not the Nariana, what's the other one? The other T3 battleship. And it looked amazing. It even had a warp lock. But its damage turned out to be absolutely abysmal. My regular masters were doing more damage than it with the same microchips. And it just turns out that it was an absolute waste of senior recruitment contracts, because I can't use it anywhere except encounters. You can save and save and save for months and months and months. And then you can get all excited and you can go, yes, I've got 100, let's go. But you might be actually wasting them. So please, please, please come and talk to the older players in Discord before you do that.
Yeah, my 3 favorite recruits which I have are just normal masters, and it's a frigate, scientist, it's a cruise engineer, and it's a battleship soldier. Each of them different nation, and so my battleship soldier, it's on lasers. My scientist, which giving me a lot of shields. Engineer, which giving me a lot of shields. It's in missiles, in NEF, and my frigate one, it's with blasters. So it's each one is different, but for different roles as well. So, and those are my favorites. And they are just regular seniors, no something special.
Zarth, I have on my screen where you can actually click on the recruit info in the galactic event, so it'll pull up each of the recruits, so you can see what they have as far as their components that they'll come with. Not components, but the devices their ship will come with, and so you can kind of read a little bit more about the recruit, so that when people are talking on Discord or in game chat about the different recruits, you can kind of see what they're talking about as far as what benefit, if any, they offer you in forms of wingman, or any whatever purpose that they're going to be used for. So all of this stuff you can find by clicking on that recruit info inside the Galactic Legends. You can do the same with the, well, you can't do it with the other ones, but for the Galactic Legends, you can click on the recruit info button in the middle of the screen, and it will pull up that information, tell you what ships it's got for the T3, as well as what devices are going to be on that recruit.
And also, if you want to invest some money, so it's probably good to get you have this badge challenge every month, every week, and so when you buy yourself this pass for 6,800 iridium it is. I think so, it's 6,800. Yeah, so you get your master recruit also after some few weeks when you finish all the tasks.
Birdie, that's a very good point about being able to see what recruits you might possibly get. Have you still got it on your screen?
Yeah, I currently have the 5 recruits up on my screen right now.
Right, so the first one is the Pugnabimus. It's the exclusive T3 battlecruiser. Now, it doesn't tell you what weapons it has, but because I have the T2 exclusive, I know that it's missile based. So what are its 3 devices?
It has the medium shield recharger. It has the medium energy recharger, and then it has the critical enhancement link.
Right, so the medium shield recharger and the medium energy recharger are both recruit based. They're not.
Well, no, it's the field. Sorry, the second one's the field. It's an AoE.
Alright, but even still, it's a medium on a battle cruiser.
Yes. Yes.
Right, so
It should be a lot,
that's not
but
going to do an awful
No, it's
lot.
not going to do anything.
No, so its energy recharge is pointless. Well, literally, it is pointless because it's AoE, but it's also useless. Its shield recharger is only for itself. It uses missiles, so it can be outsped by, well, fast battleships, most frigates, most destroyers, some cruisers, and it's got an AoE crit enhancer. It really, I'm trying to think what the name of the T2R5 version that I've got is. It gets the bonus to the armor, so I'm really expecting it to be armor based. So it's going to be a big fat tank that just sits there and does nothing, basically. There's one in there that I remember looking at. It's the Inferno. It's the cruiser. And the Hussar. The Hussar is not a bad recruit, but he uses small missiles again, so his range, he'll always try and be within 30 kilometers. That's not how you use Hussars. You want to be out. The Hussar can warp block at past 100 kilometers. So why is the wingman Hussar stuck to 24 kilometers?
No, it's even worse. He's stuck at a warp block of 18. He's only got a
That's the
short
one I
block.
got.
Yeah, he's got the short range warp block. So if you're
Yeah,
close to
but
your
I mean,
enemy when he pops up,
the
it's
Quake
fine.
Raper was the one that I picked up.
Now, where he is nice is he's got the adaptive res disruptor, which is nice, because if you're using him as a wingman, then you have that, it will help break down your enemy shields. But his warp block, you have to be within 18 kilometers of your enemy in order for him to be able to warp block it. And I prefer not to be that close to my enemy. I prefer to be a lot farther out and use my range and have somebody either with me or have a long range warp disruptor on them so that I can shoot them from further away.
I think Razak was speaking there for a minute too.
Is Razak here? I don't see him.
No, it wasn't. No,
No.
it was computer voice. Sounded
Yes.
like Razak.
It was me.
Yeah.
Ben, that's the Quake one is the one I picked up when I did the event the first.
Right. I mean, the Quake is he's good. He's just not the best in many situations. Now, if say you're in an encounter and get jumped, the odds are your person is going to jump you close enough range for that warp block to be helpful for you. But if you're in a wormhole, most of the time they're going to be probably 30 to 40 clicks out when they hit you.
And the other thing too is you've got to appreciate the fact that I look at most of these wingmen from an offensive point of view. I want to know what they can do for me when I warp on top of somebody. Now, that Quake wingman isn't actually that bad because there's two ways to run your wingmen, right? You can run them where they've got the red target, which means that they're always going to be within their range. Or you can run them on the green shield, which means they'll always be beside you. Now that Quake wingman, I would always run on the red target, but then I would fuck off out to 90 kilometers. And so when people warp in, they're going to land in range of the wingman and in range of me, but they're not going to be in weapon range to kill me. They can kill the wingman, and you can just repair it for credits, and you can get the fuck out. Or you can stay and you can kill them, or you can just, do whatever you want. You're 90 kilometers away. You've got literally an hour before they're going to get to you.
And if you target him before you flee, he's gonna warp lock him so you can get out before he has a chance to move, even if he kills your
Which
wingman.
is what I've done.
Yeah.
Exactly the things that y'all said, I figured out, and that's what I've done.
Yeah.
Yes.
So knowing
No, just-
your wingman and knowing the devices that are on their ship is absolutely imperative to know how you want to have them set up and run. And the best way to do that is to click on those devices and read what they do. And if you don't get it from that information, or you have further questions, come to us. You can also go into the trading post or to the mall, look at smaller devices of the same thing, and you can actually pull up even more details on those devices and learn more about them.
Now, what I would say to you specifically about the Hussar is, if you're going to use that from long range, then you need to have a weapon-based system that has incredibly long range, or else you're not going to be able to lock from long range. And if you don't lock, your wingman will not interact. The only way that you can force your wingman to interact is if you lock a target. So if you've got 20 kilometers of range because you're running missiles, and you're sitting 90 kilometers away from a target, and your wingman is on him, your wingman will do sweet fuck all until you get into range and lock him. Then your wingman will activate. So in that situation, you need to make sure that your weapon range matches your disruption range, and that you are able to sit comfortably at 90 kilometers or 100 kilometers or whatever it may be, and just let your wingman do his thing up close and personal, while you are sitting out at range nice and safe.
Alright, so did that all make sense, Ben?
Okay, guys, I'm so fucked up. I don't understand how to get recruitment.
Okay, so
Okay, I understand. You need contracts, employee contracts, whatever you need. But how I get this? I have only one.
okay,
One here. Can you move the window?
okay.
Oh,
So no, you're fine. Hang on. I'm sorry. So you have one on the regular recruits.
yes.
Okay. So in your
Buy them in corp for corp points.
yeah, you can buy them in Corp. You can also, I do believe. Nope, they're not on your badge quest, or not on badge quest. You can get them in your badge quest up at the top here. They drop occasionally when you do
Okay.
your badge quests. I'm not seeing them right now on this round.
You can get them in, like I said, you can get them for corp points, you can get them for Pangala, and you can buy them through the Gala store.
Can you
Galaxia.
show me?
So
And you also get them as drops on some different missions.
yes,
When you're
And-
scanning you can get them.
Yeah, the scanning missions.
Yep.
But if you go to recruit down here in the corp store, you'll find them as the
Okay.
recruit contracts for 300,000 core points. So,
Okay,
like
good.
as you're attending classes and we give you these core points and whatnot, you have core points that you can score up. I usually start the week with a lot of core points and end the week with basically no core points. Because I'll buy different things, and you can buy up to 35 of these recruit contracts a week. And then
Okay,
on
good.
Sunday night, Monday morning, they reset, and you can buy another 35. So you can get more of the recruit employment contracts. Now you cannot get the senior recruit contracts in the core store, but you can get your regular recruit contracts.
It's Sunday night at 6 p.m. when they reset.
Okay, so how can I get advance then contracts?
The senior ones are done in the gift packs, the not the events.
Dubai.
That is with real money, is how you can get those. Now I do know that those are also dropped if you purchase the badge, Ace badge. If you purchase the premium one, which I think is like 6,800 iridium a week, or not a week, a month, or however long the badge goes on, which is what I do,
Yeah.
and it drops
Only
in
2
those
months.
premiums.
Yeah.
But I normally get them when I'm purchasing, because I think I get a couple of them when I purchase them monthly at the beginning.
Yeah, you get 2 months worth of badge, which works out at about 16 senior recruits
Yeah.
over the course of 2 months. That's not all up front.
Right.
You've got to do the badge requirements in order to get the rewards. All you're purchasing is the ability to get the rewards. You then have to do the little things to get the rewards. Sometimes we get the senior recruit contracts when Second Galaxy fucks up and they've got to do their Tuesday updates, but they need to fix something in particular. And when that happens, they'll say you get 300 material boxes, you get 100 credits, and you get 1 recruit contract or 2 recruit contracts. The vast majority of the time, the only way to get senior recruit contracts is through making purchases.
Now you'll see on my
Now-
screen I have the fleet expansion up on the weekly specials from the Black Sea store. You can buy 1 a week for $5 and you get 4 every time you do. Now again, this is real money. We do not say that you need to spend real money, but if this is something that you're looking at, that's one way to do it. The daily specials will also have them where you can buy 1 a day and they've got a 99 cent and you get 2 of them. So then you can end up spending $7 and get 14 senior recruits that way in a week. So there
Without
are
real
ways that
money,
you,
without real money, we can get.
that's going to be through the badge and with the.
Okay, one more question.
Yeah.
If I go to event, I click on event, I'm going here down, emergency recruitment. Can you go to event?
Yes.
Go
Okay. So
down.
here.
Okay. Okay. Emergency. Okay, go. And here I have something like reputation. What I
Yes.
how
So what that does is that has absolutely nothing to do with recruits. Nothing whatsoever. What that does, the emergency recruitment event only works on reputation encounters. So when you go and you do your reputation encounters, depending on where you are in the game, a lot of people will, especially in boot camp, will be doing level 1 encounters. So they will be in places like Old Man Star, Isoji, dangerous places like this in and around Origin. What this does is it increases the amount of rep points that you get per encounter, so that you do not need to do as many encounters in order to get to the next level. Because with reputation encounters, you need to go from level to level to level to level. And the way to do this is to do encounter after encounter after encounter. Normally, it's worth maybe, I think at a brand new person is worth 80 encounter points. But with this event, it will be worth 120 encounter points. And it allows you to go through the reputation system faster.
So you'll see on my screen, Jedi, that on my reputations, I am in the trusted status of NEF and only accepted for RS. RS is where I get my rails for cheaper prices because I can go to the merit store and purchase it with those merit points that I've earned. As you sign these agreements, which happens as you collect points, you unlock the higher level of the agents, which give you more points for each agent that you've unlocked. Okay. Each agent has a ship type that they want their stuff in. You fly in that ship for the missions and whatnot, and you get bonus points. So if I want to level up my RS faster, because I've not done it yet this week, I've not done my reps this week, I will do 20 in the RS, and I will get double the bonuses because it's during the event. But I'll move up in the ranking as far as what level I am with that reputation. Does that make sense?
Birdie?
Yes.
Yes.
So he understands the method shows the ship type that you're using. So you need to really pay attention to that, because if you don't use it,
Oh, yes.
it won't let you do the mission. If you don't use the right ship.
Yeah, it'll tell you to go back home and pick up the right ship.
Right.
Yep.
This is another thing that this was also a closely guarded secret when I mean when like Razak and I and the other older members were fighting the East versus West war, we figured this out. You can forfeit a rep quest, and it does not remove one of your rep quest attempts. So everybody needs to do 20 rep quests a week. But if you get 5 battle rep quests in a row, and you look at the system, and there's 10 enemies in the system, it's not a very sensible thing to do a battle rep quest, because you're going to get raided, and you're probably going to die. So you forfeit, and then you go back to the rep in that system, and you say, give me another quest, and he will give you another quest. And it doesn't matter how many times you forfeit, you can still complete the 20 a week. In the same vein, you can do 60 a week if all you want to do is farm the merit points for the blueprints. You don't, after 20, you don't get any more rep points, but you do still receive merit points. So you still have the ability to buy more blueprints, you just don't proceed along that reputation level any further. Now, there are limits to this too, because you're not allowed to forfeit more than one mission or one encounter every hour. So sometimes you just have to sit back and wait for an hour, hope that the system clears out, and then try again. But most of us, all the older players, and I can tell you this for a fact because I've been doing it for about 18 months, the older players have not run a combat mission for reps in anything other than a frigate for 18 months. We just ignore it. Come back to it. Forfeit. Come back.
It's much easier just to do the ones where you're collecting in the system than to go do the combats, especially with things that are going on behind the scenes with all of the hunting and whatnot. And you don't get any extra, I mean, like what Zarth is saying, is there's not any extra rewards for doing the combat as going and doing taking a picture of a planet.
Okay, and how did we know which are with combat and which are with picture?
Okay, so in the rep quest, a combat will say complete so and so's mission. If it says complete so and so's mission, that will be a combat.
It will actually say battle.
Yeah.
Well, they say both. Yeah.
So the other ones, the other ones will tell you to collect data or to take a picture. Or
And do
how
that
many
in
that
a,
are submitting weapon or ammo.
and do that in a frigate with nothing on it. So if you get jumped, you lose nothing.
Yeah.
I just lost 3 frigates in
Yeah.
combat mission.
So yeah, I have been skipping. I'm not even one of the older players, and I've been skipping the combat ones. They're pain. I get jumped. They annoy me. So I don't do them. I do the collecting the data, and I do the taking the picture, and I do submitting the ammo, and that's how I get my rep quests done.
Yeah, because this is actually a pretty way how for some players is to get their kill numbers up, their kill reputation among the other players. It's to kill T1 pilots, which is quite usual in this game. T3 to kill T1 frigate or destroyer, just to get that number.
Unfortunately, this is something that happens. We try, I mean, when you've played the game as long as I have, and you are pretty, like, free with the information, you try to tell players not to do these things. As I said, when I was working with boot camp, I would always tell people, "Oh, don't do this. This is why you do this. I would run an event. This is how you do rep quests. This is how you do this. This is how you do that." I am not doing this anymore. Birdie and some other of the boot camp commanders have taken over. Birdie herself is still learning this stuff, so I do not blame Birdie for this. But this is exactly why she invited me around tonight to talk about microchips. Birdie is still learning and understands that, so I think it's good. There are things that everybody needs to learn. There are differences. There are ways of doing things. There are actually, for people that want to spend money, there are ways right now of getting around encounter problems and farming implants at stupid levels. It's really, really difficult now at the moment for new players, which is why I agreed to come and talk.
Thank you.
When we're talking about this, I don't know the name of the guy which said that he lost like 3 frigates. When you are in a system and you do these rep missions, always look on a count of people in that system. Yeah. So if there is a 1, that means that it's you. It's on a left upper corner. There's a little icon which says the number. So 1 it's you, and anything else it's somebody else. Just keep eye on that. If you are at the beginning, just keep eye on the number of people in a system. So if there is a +1, so if it's changed for a 2, just leave the mission and go back to station and wait until the person leaves. I got jumped 1.5 days ago.
Yep.
I lost my quite nice cruiser in JP in our camp, corp camp, and there was like 18 people in our station, and there was just 1 scout which came in, locked me. Oman came, boom, I was off, and they left. That was all what they did, and they do this all the time. So if you see a +1 in a system,
You need, when you log in, you need to check everybody that's in system. So when you logged in, 18 people in system, did you check that all 18 people are all blue?
Oh, no, there was nobody else. They literally were coming in one at a time, picking them off. Raz and I spent 2 hours chasing them all off afterwards.
No, but I mean, this is what you need to do. When you log in, you check the system. You look at all 18 people in the system. If they are all green, then I would feel very happy to do an encounter.
but
So I agree, in that situation, I would have done an encounter too.
Yeah.
My point is, this is one way to check, especially for reps, because that's what we were talking about. So in a rep system, it's not always going to be blue. In a rep system, you need to check system. You need to see who's there. You need to see who is red, who is blue. You need to look at every single profile for people that are red, and you need to ask yourself one simple question. If I am doing an encounter in a cruiser and this person comes, can I kill him? If the answer is no, do not do encounter. Forfeit, wait, and then do another rep.
yeah.
And it's very simple, like this. The whole point of doing rep encounters is to make money, not lose money.
Oh yeah, Zarth. You would just mention the other to check the hit list for the potential hostiles that are in the area as well. So we
Yes.
have that. We have the watchtower in our stations, as well as down here at the bottom on my screen. It tells you who's all 9 in your station. So like right now, I can see that there's 5 online in JP, and well, Berg he's Atlas. He's just helping out another core right now with us, but they are all us here in JP right now.
The watch list is incredibly important when people come into the system, but the bounty system it's incredibly useful for people like us who live in JP, because we're out in the sticks, and if anybody comes to visit, we can quite easily see them. But in Origin systems, the bounty list is inundated with people, and it's very difficult in there to figure out who's coming at you and who's running away.
Yeah.
Another thing I found useful, Bertie, go to map,
Yeah.
if you don't mind, please, ma'am.
Nope, I will. Give me just 1 second. There we go. Alright.
Okay, now select the up in the upper left-hand corner, which shows all the system. Thank you. Now,
Maybe. Oh, please think. There we go.
okay, now at the bottom, you see where security status is? At the bottom right? Okay, you see the one where it says attack intensity and activity level? Select those individually.
Okay, so you're
Select
saying
one of them, like attack, yeah. Okay, then select on the system that you're in. And you see right there, there's basically no activity. If you go and select the other one, the one below activity, attack intensity, see there's been no ships lost in the last 24 hours. At least that helps you a little bit to feel confident that you can go in that system. That's what I've used. So when I'm doing a rep and I gotta go somewhere, I look at those two and I use a frigate with nothing on it. So if I'm taking photos or scans or whatever, and somebody jumps on me, that frigate is a T1, and okay, it's a throwaway. I get another T1. I haven't lost a lot of money.
Yeah, but you say there was nothing like last 24 hours by this. What you saying?
in the last 24 hours, there has not been a ship loss in JP.
Sure.
That is according to the system.
And you know, it's not saying it's perfect, but it helps. It helps you to know.
I know. Now, are we looking at ship loss from us or ship loss from other people with that, Zarth?
No, I'd be very fucking surprised to think that one of us hasn't lost something in JP in the last 24 hours. You just look at the corporation complex.
Yeah. So, my question then is that ship loss over the last 24 hours your ship loss in the last 24 hours in a system?
I'm just thinking if it was within 24 hours.
No, you and I,
actually,
JT, you and I went, your stuff was Sunday night, so that would be more than 24 hours ago.
yeah, I just log in a game and I can tell you my shutdown history actually, and you can get to the case. Yeah.
And the other thing too there is, it might be that there's been no Atlas loss, no Blood Oath loss even, because obviously we would go and defend Blood Oath in JP. But has there been ops? Did we have subs at the weekend?
No. We had on Saturday. And then, but it was only versus NPCs. And then we had core PvE yesterday.
Did we lose anything in that?
No. So it's only going to be an individual, but I think they've only been jumping. It's been Danny and Rise jumping Alexander down in a different system.
I've not seen anything in JP in the last 48 hours.
Yeah, there hasn't been anything.
I was going to say, I know that we've lost
And
stuff
hi, guys.
Sunday night.
Yeah. So, but also that's not the best indicator either, because there might be no fucking kills in a system for a long time, and then because it's a capital system where an enemy has a capital shipyard, you might end up warping into a system where there's 70 people waiting on a jump bridge.
So for example,
So it's
when
not always the best way to use that as an indicator.
Right, when I did our virus in final battle in DP, I sent Lizy out to all the surrounding areas that could be landed in and they could hide out in. So we went one past all the Atlas ones, looked in those systems before we decided whether we were going to go to the DP final battle and do all of that. Even then, we still got jumped. Now, mind you, it did not end the way it should have ended, but that's neither here nor there. There were some mistakes that were made, etc. But we had done all of the scouting, we had done all the checking. So even with all of that, it's possible to still get jumped in an encounter or an event or whatever it is, even knowing what those are. But I always suggest checking those surroundings systems before you go and do an encounter, because they could be hiding in a system over and waiting for you.
Yeah, which is what I was trying to allude to.
Yeah.
I just use as much of it as I can, not only in the system I'm going to go into, but all the surrounding ones that they can do one jump or even two jumps in.
Well, I completely understand what you're saying, and I get why you're saying it as a newer player is you want to go where you think it's going to be safe. But a lot of the time, where it's going to be safe is where there are players. So if you warp to a system where there's no people and no kills, and just log off at a planet, yes, you might be safe. But if you warp to JP832 and there's 20 Atlas online and ready to respond, that's equally fucking safe. Now, you might lose a ship, but you're guaranteed they're losing their ships as well. And the thing is, if they lose their ship as well, are they going to do it a second time? Probably not.
Yep. Those
Which makes it safer for you the second time that you warp to JP832. Because the people that are chasing you think, oh fuck off, I'm not going in there.
Yep. Agree.
And that's why we have home defense and things like that. Now, we've gotten a lot off of target, a lot off of script this evening. We started with the microchips, and we started with research and with production. Is Ben still on voice?
Yes.
Right, Ben, what I wanted to talk to you about personally is your particular wingmen. Would you like us to do this in this conversation, or would you like us to do this in a private conversation?
Private would be okay. I won't be able to do it tonight, but we could set something up, yes.
This conversation has taken on a fucking life of its own, and we've not really got around to it.
It's because you have so much knowledge, Zarth, that just kind of happens.
Alright, well listen, Ben, I've been linked in the Ops channel. You can easily click on my name and you can send a private message. You just do that and you tell me when you're free for a conversation, and I will make time between the two of us, we'll have a private conversation. I'll make time, and we'll have a chat about your particular wingman. All right?
Okay. Yeah, and I'm gonna let you know, there is one other thing I would like to really find out some information about. And that is
All right.
when you're scanning, and I know what ship to use, but I'm not sure how to set it. And then what ship to go back to pick it all up. And that's a whole nother topic, and I understand that. So
Ben, I have on my
about
screen right.
that,
I have on my screen right now. You're set up for the unseen. That's it. For the scan.
My advice would be use the unseen. It's quite cheap to buy. Use that with the best value or the best quality components that you can. If you find yourself not being able to arrive at the destinations, then that's down to research and components. You need to improve either or both. Once you find yourself able to arrive at anything you want in the systems that you want, then you do not need to upgrade your ability to scan anymore. Now, what you go and retrieve it in is completely down to you. There's people that do it in battleships with cargo expanders and warp disruption nullifiers and things like that. I am not going to talk about that because that's not the way I do it. I do it because I'm totally pro. I do it in a Tier and Oak, and I've got the scanning and the warp benefit and the cargo expanders and everything on all of one ship, so I do it all in the one go. So my scanning is just like totally pro A1 scanning. That's how this shit is supposed to be done.
and that's just the unseen.
Not everybody does it like that.
Yeah, so this is the unseen, so I would pick a system that is, say, 4 jumps out. I would fly to a planet. In that system, I'd smack, as soon as I landed and left warp, I'd smack this cloaking device. It's gonna turn me invisible. I pull up my map. Actually, no. I pull up the return home on my navigator, and I start my flight home. As I'm flying home, I pull up my map in each system and drop a scan probe. So as I'm flying to the first gate, after starting my warp home, I would pull up the map, drop a scan probe. As I go through that gate and get on the other side, as soon as I'm through that gate, I'll pull up my map again, drop another scan probe, all the way back.
Okay, can you make a little demo to understand, because it's a little bit tricky?
Yes, I
Okay,
can.
wait a minute, before that, you were saying the cargo expansion on the same ship. Now, do you put that on the unseen, or do you use a different ship to pick up?
Well, he's using. Hang on, I'll pull it up in the trading post.
Lies in the stars.
Right, so the unseen gets a benefit to the scan probe results percentages. So then you can warp to it in the unseen, or you can warp to it in a T1 frigate. But the percentage of you landing at that are exactly the same.
So
It's been scanned, it's got a percentage, so whether or not you land at that result depends on what your percentage is.
Yeah.
For newer players, sometimes it's down around the 30, 40, 50% marks. For older players who are doing it in T3s with T3 equipment and T3 research, there's nothing I cannot hit at 100%. So what I do is I do my scans in a Tiernanog. It's a T3 cruiser that has a bonus to scanning and cargo capacity. And then I also run them in the Tiernanog.
So Ben,
But
I
not
have that
everybody can
exclusive-
do that.
I have that exclusive ship on my screen right now. It's the one he's talking about. And so when you click on the details, you'll see that it has on it the cargo space bonus of 100%. It has the scanners of 500. And then it also is the only ship that I know of. I may be wrong on there being other ones, but it's the only one that I know of that does not get flagged when flying contraband.
Okay, but if you're using this, how do you pronounce this ship's name?
Tiernanog? No.
Okay, Tiernanog. If you're using that ship, what do you put on the equipment since it's got the cargo space bonus and the items you need to scan, which is gravitation, EM wave, and radio? Then what do you put on the ship? Nothing?
So, in the components, I still need to use one EM, one grav, and one of the other scanning things. Radio. So that's 3 of the components taken up. I still need to use them, or else none of my scans will actually work. So in the other 4 components, it's basically it's so facto between warp security and cargo space. In the devices, again, I'm not worried about fighting anything. All I want to do is escape. So in my devices, I've got an energy battery, I've got a medium jump drive, and I've got a medium thruster. Between the medium thruster and the basic thruster, I can get to about 7,000 kilometers a second. So I can get away from people quite quickly if I need to get away from people. And with decent warp stability components, I can warp away from even 2 T3s. All I'm worried about, it's a £150 million fucking cruiser. All I'm worried about is being able to get away if I need to get away.
Medium thruster, medium warp, and what was the third one?
I will link it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Next time we're both in game together, I will link it for you.
Thank you.
It's also got medium guns, but you don't really need them. Because any of the scanning missions where you need to shoot, you can have a wingman. So you don't actually need medium guns. So I do it for speed.
Just remember with the Tiernanog, it is an exclusive, it is a shiny, so people see shiny and will target you more. So make sure that you have research up before using it.
It's extremely expensive, and it's the reason I use it is because I can't be bothered to do the scanning and then go back with another ship.
It's almost 130.
Whereas if you had an unseen costs 10 million gata. You can do the scanning with an unseen, and then you can go in a T1 battleship and do the exact same thing But it's gonna take you twice the time.
So the tier to node is $130 million. The unseen is $1 million. To replace an unseen, you're only looking at $1 million. To replace the tier node, you're looking at $130 million. So that's why we say just make sure that before you think about using the exclusives, you look at the price you could lose if you get caught.
Okay, and if you use the unseen, then you're using what kind of cruiser you said?
I just use my Vanguard. I use a T1, but that's mainly because I'm after very specific sites or the experience. So I don't even collect it most of the sites. I do have cargo space put on it, but for me, if I lose my T1, it's nothing. And I'll have gotten the experience even if I get shot down. So that's my preference.
The little question here actually is something that myself and Razak have ribbed each other about many a time. Razak is a free-to-play player, whereas I am willing to spend on certain things. And he often asks me, why are you spending on that? And I say, because it saves me time. I do not have the time every day to log in, do 15 scans, then come home, and then go and do 15 fucking events with a battleship or a cruiser. I just don't have the time. I've got a full-time job, I've got 2 stepsons, I've got my own daughter, and you know, I just don't have the time for all this shit. So, with the experience I have, and with the wallet that I've built up, I have the confidence to use something that cuts that in half, which is the tier Nanook. It has the ability to scan, and it has the ability to collect. So I use the tier Nanook. It's not something everybody can do. It's not something everybody has the ability to do. I understand that. I'm not recommending it. I'm saying this can easily be done by other people that have more time. But I just don't have the time. And that's really what I'm trying to get across.
Very fair point.
I don't have the time, but at the same time, I'm still trying to compete with everybody else. There are some people in this game that can spend fucking 12, 15, 16 hours farming. I can't do that.
That's me. My auto missions, that's why I'm losing ships, because sometimes I do not pay attention on number of people in system, but because I'm lorry driver, truck driver, I have hours to do auto missions, so I just let my ships do the work.
Yeah.
No, see, I cannot do that. I need to make my time work for me. So with the tier Nanook, I can scan, I can collect everything finished very quickly.
So
Yeah, and what I would like to say is then one step up for a tier 3 unseen, it's called invisible.
Yeah.
And with invisible, you need components just tier 2. Rank 2, sorry, yeah, green ones. Tier 3 R2 components on invisible make you 100% success with all the missions in around JP with scanners because of the bonus.
I can confirm this, even with tier Nanook. And it's the exact same bonus as invisible.
Okay,
Everything that you need, yes, everything that you need. Full max research, invisible or T-Nanook, all you need is T3 or 2, and everything is 100%.
Yeah, I'm looking for a next 30 exchange boxes, and I can change my Avalon or upgrade my Avalon to tier finally.
And I apologize for getting this off subject, but it's just been a curiosity for me. So
Now, look, it's one of those things that people don't know about, and they don't really know who to ask about. So that's why we're here, Ben.
And if you are unclear about something, mostly level 50 players, they know this stuff, or they know for sure somebody who knows. Just ask anyone in a game to go on Discord, and so you can have a call like this, and you can get explained anything what you need. Anything from how to set up ship, what components to use, anything.
So Jedi, I have on my screen the way I have my cruiser set up to collect. Again, I use a throwaway throwaway ship for me because it's T1. It doesn't cost me pretty much anything at all. And I set it up with T1R4 for my weapons and my my devices. But my devices are set up mainly to shield and to get away. So like I have my energy and I've got my shield and then I have an overshield. Because my goal is to be able to flee, to shield and flee, rather than worry about losing what little stuff I'm getting from the scans. But my cargo space, I can hold up to 935 with all of the components with just my cargo space on it. This is literally just a throwaway, allows me to collect as I go, but I'm not going to sweat losing it because it's not going to cost me very many credits to replace it. So if you're looking at the scanning and then the collecting separate, this is how I set up my cruiser to collect. Again, the collection ship is really up to you on how you wanna do it. It's not this is the way it should be done. That type of thing. This is just how I've preferred to do mine. You were discussing though the wanting to see how to do the unseen. I will show you. I will tell you though that my research and my components are not high enough where I'm at in the JPDP area. So my scans are going to be horrible for percentage wise, but I will show you how it works. So I'm just going to jump out. I'm currently in JP. I'm going to jump over to BYG, which is going to actually be a 2-jump deal. I'm going to open the map because I never fly into a system straight. I fly into a planet and I'll land at a planet. So I'll click on my planet. I'll warp to that planet with my unseen. I'll undock, and we'll let it jump. We'll let it think.
Starting
there we go.
Commencing warp.
A good thing to do when you land at the planet is to find a tower and warp to the tower.
After the planet?
Well, if it's a blue system, warp to the tower. If it's a red system, do not warp to the tower. That's a bad idea. But then, if it's in the locality, you should know what systems are blue and what systems are red.
Yeah.
Arrived at target location.
Blue in this manner means that it is ally or our system. Not
Yes,
actual
ally, friendly. Because if you warp to blue system and somebody come at you, then they will get attacked by tower.
Commencing warp. Arrived at target location.
But if you warp into tower at red system, you will get attacked.
Okay, so I'm at the planet. I'm hitting my cloaking device now. Right?
Stealth mode activated.
I'm now cloaked. Okay? I hit the navigation and I start my flight home. As soon as I do that, I'm pulling up my map
target location.
and I drop my scan. And it's already gonna tell me that I don't have a strong enough strength. Okay? And it's gonna go through.
Starting warp engine.
As soon as I'm through, I pull up my map again,
Arrived at target location.
drop another scan probe.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah? Okay. So that's how I do mine. Just so that I can scan as I'm going back home.
Starting
And
warp
then,
engine. Commencing warp. Arrived at target location.
One of the things we did last time, Birdie, was we helped each other out with Gala.
yes.
Space station.
So, I don't have the ability to announce ops anymore. But if people want to sell things, I'm more than willing to buy them. Should we announce an op for that? So that I can log in and buy things from people who've been listening tonight and need Gala in order to activate the things that they've learned tonight.
Oh. Sorry, what have you say?
So, okay, so selling, like in your warehouse, for example, I have an item that I won't ever need, in all honesty. I mean, I may, like, a few years from now, but until then, I don't. Which I got in an event, the Singing of Chad Bryan, which is a really nice device. I could offer it to core members who would buy it for minus 50%, but there are also some core members who will buy it for plus 50% if they have a ton of Gala and want to help me in Gala. Let's say you have blueprints. What?
It depends. If the item is only available on the cart post, like on the trading post, if you're the only person selling it, then I can buy it at plus 50.
Right.
But if there's other people selling things, then you need to list it at -1 Gala. Because when I buy something off the trade post, I will always receive the cheapest thing. So I cannot tell people to list it at plus 50% if other people already have things listed.
Yeah, I was gonna get. Sorry, I was gonna kind of get into that. But basically, when we organize buying and selling, and looking at different things, you can look at what you have that you don't need. So, say blueprints or devices or components or whatever that you don't currently need or you can't produce or whatever. Then you look at the trading post and you see what has things available right now or what doesn't, and arrange ways to sell certain things to move the Gala around in that manner. But it's all about watching the trading post and looking at your items.
Yes. So, for instance, right now, if me and Birdie looked at the trade post and Birdie said, I have this T3R5 laser that I need to sell, and we looked at it and she said, there's nobody selling this, I would say put it up at plus 50% and then I would buy it immediately and she would get plus 50% Gala. Bring that down, reduce it to T2 levels, and if JT turns around and JT says, I've got this ship blueprint, and I said, okay, what is it? It's a Citadel blueprint. I'll say, okay, there are like 10 Citadel blueprints. If I try to buy yours, the only way I'm gonna get it is if you put it at -1 gala from the current lowest. There's a difference. There's a massive difference there. If there's anything on the market already, I will buy the lowest marked product. That's not me. That's not my choice. That is mechanics. There's nothing I can do about that.
So another example, Sandra and I did this the other day after we had run a whole bunch of final battles together with the virus and stuff like that. I had stuff that I wanted to sell, and we noticed that they were flying off the trading post. Sandra, who had more gala than I did, bought all the items off the trading post, had me listed at a +50. The next person who bought a product bought mine for +50. I immediately made gala, because everything that was on the trading post was going hot pancakes, because it was listed below. It was listed at a negative, minus like 10, I think. So he bought it, clearing the trading post on that item. I posted mine at a +50. Mine immediately sold, and I made gala. So they're different.
That immediately put the price up of the existing sell price.
Right, and so
that when Sandra put all that stuff back on the market, he was making a profit too.
Precisely, yes, because he put it back up in about 4 hours and was able to make a profit on all of it because the price automatically went back up.
Yeah. This is something what guys helped me other day, 27, I'm the boss. And as Azar now said half an hour ago, as he helped with the 26 million battleship, that fortress, which I really wanted, because it was on the lowest price, since I remember, on 38 millions. It's usually around 60. It was also somewhere around 85 once, what I remember, because I'm checking that ship quite often, as I wanted it from the first month when I started with the game. And so first, 27 said that he might sell it to me for as little as 19 millions, which would be like those -50%. But because there was somebody in Galaxy who was selling it, so he had to put it on 26 to actually be able to compete. And so I was there and refreshing. You have to keep on refreshing that page where you are about to buy that item, so nobody can jump and buy it first. And so I got that Citadel and still saved 12 million galas? Like 12, Citadel, sorry, Fortress. Like a 12 million galas, I still saved, which is quite a lot. So if you need to do this, go on Discord and talk with somebody who is experienced. It was first this sort of corp buy for me, and I was pretty nervous, and I didn't want to miss it, and I did get it. But first, rather start with something smaller, so you know mechanics of the sell and the buy, so you won't make a mistake when the real money, the real galas are in.
Yeah, that's how it works. The people that put the time and effort in get the benefits. There you've just heard JT got a fortress for 26 million gala. I'm selling, I bought the implant and I sold I bought the blueprint and I sold the rev to not Cardinal, somebody else, for exactly the same money that they sold it to me. 27, I've asked him, can I have a rev? And he said, yes, no problem, it's ready. I'm buying it at 13 million gala. That's going to be my third rev. simply because you put the effort in, you get the fucking rewards.
Yeah.
So one
And
thing
this
I
is what
will-
is great about this corp. It might be hard, and it's a lot of work, but there is always somebody who can help you here, give you advice, or even help with something as serious as Fortress. It's one of the strongest ships in the nations to get it. I get my first battleship, tier 3, after 2 years of playing. Well, not really. I was off from a game for a year, but since I started with the game, it's more than 2 years ago, and now I've got a ship which I really desire.